Hi everyone! We're sure many of you love to spend sunny summer days on beaches, sunbathing and swimming in cool water. In such an innocent place, probably nothing could ruin your holiday, right? But we're sorry to disappoint you, friends. In this video, we'll tell you about animals you should avoid while choosing a place for your holiday. Visiting some beaches can harm your health and sometimes even cost you your life. So here are 10 creatures you don't want to see on your holiday. Let's get it on. Portuguese man-o'-war. Here we have a beautiful creation of nature, the Portuguese man-o'-war, also known as blue bottle or floating terror. But don't try to touch this animal. Its beauty is equivalent to the danger it represents. The Portuguese man-o'-war belongs to the Cnidaria family, which means that it's equipped with a lethal weapon, stinging cells. These cells are filled with a poison that can bring down the inhabitants of the ocean and humans too. This poisonous substance can paralyze an animal and cause serious burns in humans. In addition, the wound should not be washed with drinking water, as there may be intact urticating cells on the skin that are destroyed on contact with water. This way, its venom can fall into other parts of the skin. Can you imagine? An interesting fact is that a burn from the Portuguese man-o'-war can be compared in toxicity to the attack of a venomous snake. The most dangerous species of these fake jellyfish is found in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, so be careful if you're going to be there. Muræna. This snake-like fish looks very scary. They actually have quite a calm temper and don't tend to attack first, but when they're irritated, they can be really aggressive, especially if you try to catch them or feed them. The jaws filled with huge sharp inset teeth let you know immediately that it's very dangerous. Although there's no poison, their bites hurt very much and for a long time. The teeth of this lovely fish are literally teeming with all kinds of infections. Murænas prefer places with surfaces made from rock plates, so they could settle in the spaces between them. They usually live in the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, but you can also find them in the Mediterranean and the Red Seas. Oddly enough, this predator is considered a delicacy, although its meat can be really poisonous, so we recommend you to stay away from this creature in any form. Piranha. This monster, protagonist of films and horror stories, live in the waters of the Amazon and other rivers on the territory of South America. But do you know anything else about this creature? If you don't, then pay attention. The size of this omnivorous animal varies between 6 and 10 inches in length. However, the inhabitants of the Amazon have found specimens that reach 13 inches, a length more than decorous. These predators are famous for their sharp teeth and their uncontainable and aggressive appetite. In addition, their upper and lower teeth come together perfectly when closing the jaw, generating a pressure of more than 30 times the weight of the fish. This allows piranhas to bite through a bone without a problem. After hearing this, you probably won't feel like swimming in the Amazon. Bacteria. It's not very pleasant to have intestinal disease, is it? Now imagine swimming in water full of bacteria that can cause such diseases. It is scary to think about it, but such is the reality in many rivers in Johannesburg, South Africa, where the level of enterobacteria in some places exceeds the standard up to 240 times. Although local people are looking for a solution, the problem continues as the government denies that there's a problem. Politicians should listen to health specialists who assert that drinking water from these rivers is putting your life at mortal risk. Diving bell spider. This is the only spider known to the science that lives all its life underwater. Like other similar arthropods, it needs air in order to breathe, so it forms an air bubble and holds it with its hair on its legs and belly. From time to time, the spider needs to go up to the surface of the water in order to refill its air tank, but it does so not so often. This creature can be found in northern and central Europe and also in some northern regions in Asia, so don't be surprised if you run into this weird fellow while diving. Oh, and the most important thing, these spiders bite very painfully. No, of course they won't kill you, but it's not very pleasant when some of your limbs are numb and you have fever, is it? Sea urchin. Although it seems harmless, this animal is quite dangerous for humans. Sea urchins will not attack you or follow you. However, some species of this animal have their body filled with thin, long needles. If a careless person touches one of these animals underwater, he or she will suffer terrible pain. This is because the needles of this animal penetrate the skin and break, remaining inside the body. In addition, many species of sea urchins are poisonous, so people can suffer from severe pain for a long time. The poison of these creatures causes problems in the respiratory and cardiac systems, as well as paralysis in the muscles. If by chance you or your friends are in this situation, here is what you should do. First, it's necessary to remove the needles from the wound and treat it with antiseptic. After that, it's necessary to take the victim to the nearest care center. But keep in mind that the person may have problems breathing or in the heart. In extreme cases, you should perform mouth-to-mouth breathing or massage into the heart, depending on the case. And keep in mind that the most dangerous sea urchins are in the tropics and subtropics, so if you're in these places, be very careful. Cone snails. Have you ever met a poisonous snail? We haven't, but turns out they do exist. For example, this little snail is a predator. Besides, it's one of the most poisonous in the world. During the day, it hides in the sand, and at night, it goes hunting. Once it sees a fish nearby, it starts approaching its victim, using a special sensitive organ. As soon as it's close enough, it sticks its toxic tooth into its potential lunch, and a mixture of hundreds of toxins then enters the body of the victim, paralyzing it. Then the snail swallows the prey. But this predator is no less dangerous for men. Its beautiful shell often attracts people who want to take them as a souvenir, but even if you really want it, we wouldn't recommend it to you. You might think it's not deadly dangerous for you or whatever, but that's not true. Just a little drop of the venom produced by this innocent-looking creature can kill 20 people, and there's no antidote against the toxin, so think twice before you approach this snail. Trachinus draco. The greater weaver is not some usual fish, it's a dangerous and poisonous sea dragon. This predator is famous for its unpredictable character. We know that this sea creature prefers getting its food on the depth of 50 or 65 feet, but in spite of that, there were cases when people relaxing on the coast became victims of this dangerous fish. Its poisonous spines, which you can run into by accident, can really damage your health. Once the spine sticks the skin, the venom penetrates the blood and the wound becomes blue. The location of the lesion starts abscessing and the person will feel incredible pain. When the venom is inside a leg or an arm, the pain expands all over the limb, even if the wound is very small. Without timely first aid, the victim can suffer paralysis or even die. So when you spend your holiday on a seashore, be really careful. If you find a weird, unknown fish, don't try to catch it with your hands. Tridacna. This creature looks like a funny and cute rake comb, but it's actually a giant killer marine bivalve mollusk. These animals can weigh 220 or even 440 pounds. Can you imagine that? And it kills in a very simple way. The mollusk slightly opens itself, showing inside a tempting bright pearl. You can try to get it with your hand, but you'll end up with nothing. The mollusk will close in a second, catching you inside. There are even stories of people who died because of these injuries. According to some people, some of these 5-foot-long monsters have been found with human remains inside. We don't want to scare you, but given the size and the strength of the Tridacna, those stories are quite possible. These mollusks live 200 or even 300 years, and sometimes even more. Can you imagine how many people have fallen into their traps? Stonefish. This fish is the most poisonous and horrifying creature you can find on the bottom of the sea. Its body is covered with a layer of scales in the form of warts, which makes the look of this animal even more disgusting. The stonefish is found mainly on the shores of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. These animals are quiet and move little, preferring to stay in the underbelly of reefs and corals. But despite being lazy, stonefish are quite irritable. If they feel the slightest possibility of an attack, they'll raise their spines on the back of their fins where they keep their deadly poison. These needles are so powerful that even the protection on your feet may be insufficient to protect you. So if you get to step on or touch one of these animals, it will immediately stick its weapon into your skin. So listen to your mother and stop touching things you don't know, because an encounter with this fish could end in a tragedy. But if the person's lucky and survives, he or she will be practically invalid for life. After entering the blood system, the poison of this creature destroys the erythrocytes and ends with the central nervous system. Without medical help, death will come in 5 hours. Don't forget to tell us in the comments if you know of any of these animals. And if you like the video, don't forget to give us a like.